When we speak about digital marketing, everybody agrees that it's like oxygen that makes e-commerce breathing, that give the power. But there is a lot of different tools in digital marketing, and being an entrepreneur, which one should I choose firstly? Let's dive into this question. We have in studio a very special guest. Let me introduce him to you. In studio we have a marketing entrepreneur who previously worked as CMO at lastminute.com, Sportingbet and eBookers in Europe, then moved to Russia in 2008 and led local market leaders Ozon, Gloria Jeans, La Moda, Kupivip, Inter and mythings.com. Please meet. We have founder and CEO of digital marketing and e-commerce consultancy firm Acrobat.com, Bas Gotska. Hello, Bas.
Hello.
It's nice to pleasure having you in studio. Let's start from the defining what does it mean, digital marketing? Could you define?
I'd say digital marketing is, I like your metaphor about
oxygen.
Yes, it's a fresh air to e-commerce. I think it's the instrument that once used well drives your acquisition, your conversion and your retention. And it's also that little element that makes your business stand out and be pushed forward. And if you do it right, you actually have pretty much unlimited growth in the online atmosphere or in the ecosphere because it's so well measurable, so well optimizable, and without it your website or your digital business is actually not getting any oxygen.
And do you have so-called a lovable baby in digital marketing? So
you know, the thing with digital marketing is that there's always new innovations, so you are a little bit like maybe in the fashion world, that you like something for a year and a half and then you come with something new. However, I'd say the tools that are really driving pretty much any digital business and therefore also my favorites are email marketing, search engine optimization. For innovation, I'd say remarketing and prospecting, which is with statistical twin propensity calculations, getting people to your site and convert them that you have not seen before, but that's a bit technical for now. And apart from that, affiliate marketing.
And could you say a few words about so-called global trends in digital marketing, meaning e-commerce?
I think if you would now overlook mobile, then you are making a big mistake.
Okay.
This is also an opportunity for entrepreneurs because they can now still be ahead of competition, where everybody has been fine-tuning different paid acquisition channels. Mobile is still an area where you can get extra growth. I think also demand-side platforms and real-time bidding technology are very interesting. Maybe not for small startups straight away, but the more innovative you think, the more space there's still to make a real difference.
Speaking about e-commerce in Russia, so actually you moved to Russia 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And during this time, did you notice any changes?
Oh yeah.
Can you compare e-commerce in Russia now and 6 years ago?
I'd say it's really a very different atmosphere now. I'll try to give you a short list of elements. I'd say that the people, because at the end of the day it's all run by people, they have become much more wise and experienced, whereas 5-6 years ago people would only scratch the surface of digital marketing. Now we really are in an area where there's a lot of know-how. However, I do not always see the same customer satisfaction levels in Russia as in the West, so there is still a long way to go. It's very hard to find people still in the market. So that's regarding people. Then I'd say tool sets or elements in with which you can see people to drive success online. There have been new ones coming up. I already mentioned that remarketing, retargeting is one of those areas where only 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it has really started lifting off. Apart from that, I think the government has become a little bit more interested in this whole online area, and I'd say that that also had a positive element of reducing some areas of bureaucracy, fine-tuning certain legislation, but there's also, of course, developments that might not always be as well for the e-commerce sector. That's a different topic. So then there's cross-border, which is now kind of China coming in and selling products here. That really came quite unexpectedly fast. cross-border sales, also Amazon from the
Mhm.
West, etc. I'd say in the 5 or 6 years I've been here, I've seen how venture funds really started investing very heavily in the e-commerce sector.
Mhm.
And I've also seen how more or less some of them actually, or a lot of them, took a step back and said, okay, we are now going to look to more scalable business models. I'd say apart from that, well, some innovative elements, the real-time bidding technology, areas like that. I think that sums up some of the major trends. I remember when I came to Russia, I expected to see Ladas, Zhigulis everywhere, and when I arrived, there were Bentleys everywhere. And a lot of those things, I expected Google to be market leader, but it appeared to be Yandex. I expected Facebook, but there was, well, Facebook was in its very early days, but then it became Vkontakte and Odnoklassniki. And last of all, I'd say that people here, when you compare it to Western people in Europe, for instance, they like risk a bit more. Where I'm Dutch myself, I know that in Holland people they have maybe the budgets, but they don't really always dare to take the risks currently. And I'd also say that people here are a little bit more hungry to learn. In Holland, I'd see that people are a bit more kind of, okay, we've seen it, we've done it. But here you really see, we need more knowledge. Where can we find it online? Let's go and pay for my own money for a master class, things like that.
And speaking about the way of learning, I know that you have courses at Skolkovo.
Yeah,
Don't
and at
you?
Launch Gurus.
Yeah, Launch
Too.
Gurus.
Yeah. And Skolkovo.
I think, what kind of courses?
This is
So what
basically, in the 15 years I've been busy with digital marketing and e-commerce across the world, I've worked out a certain formula. And this is what I teach students. It's basically a full day or half a day masterclass in which I give them a lot of practical advice on how to run their startup business from a marketing perspective.
And you speak about the formula that you call cash cow bomber.
The cash cow bomber, yeah.
So could you just explain what the idea behind this formula?
Yeah. The general idea is that it's almost as if you go to a it's a methodology. It's basically allowing you to touch any business and screen it for all the flavors and elements of digital marketing, sometimes even offline marketing. And it depends on which vertical, whether it's fashion or travel, but still there's always a really like 80% or 70% or sometimes 100% of all the characters in the cash cow bomber are elements of digital marketing. So if you want to really drive your business with a holistic marketing strategy, make sure that you check this cash cow bomber formula, because without it you kind of have the risk that you kind of get lost in the labyrinth of all these options, all these things that you need to do, or you might even forget about a few that could bring your business real value.
Have I understood you rightly that cash cow bomber looks like a checklist, yeah?
Yeah, it's a checklist. It's a little bit like at a doctor that you would say, okay, let's check with this patient how he's doing, and then you find where the businesses are suffering. So separate from my teaching, I also have a consultancy firm, and this is our formula that we work with in companies, both startups and large firms.
Yeah, and I read that using this formula you generated billions in e-commerce revenue.
Yeah, well, with the team, but indeed, like we calculated that indeed it helped for raising a lot of billions of dollars in sales.
And now you have to do with the Acrobator.com, so could you say a few words about this firm?
Yeah, this is, well, it's a consultancy firm, but with a very high emphasis on practical implementation. So it's it basically means it's a reflection of my philosophy, where I don't like to just send the client some sort of nice paper with a lot of theory, etc., and then a company needs to still try to figure out what to do with it. So what I basically do with Acrobator and with a very nice team of people is go into a company, then screen this cash cow bomber formula approach with their existing business. Then out of this comes a long list. It's very often very long, like hundreds and hundreds of quite actionable recommendations, where it's really like a recipe book of saying, okay, in context advertising we have those 25 points of recommendation, and basically you can really take them as a checklist and say, okay, execute this, and it actually shows what kind of additional revenue you can get and how hard it would be on a scale to implement it. So it could be very long implementation, and then it has an average additional revenue, or it can be very quickly implemented and have a big financial impact. So we then sort it on those criteria, and then you get pretty much like the Beluga, the Sevruga, the Osietra, and then you as a business say, okay, we only have this much in resources, let's just focus on the Beluga, the top 25 of the top 500 recommendations, and move with those quite quickly.
Okay, great. It sounds like to be a nice filter.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it.
Okay, great. And I noticed that during your career you are the entrepreneur, investor, consultant, and whom do you like to be the most?
Well, my honest answer to that is that I think that there is a little bit of the same universal matter around which those flavors are combined, because an investor is a person who enables a certain idea to grow with his money. A consultant lets the idea grow with his knowledge. An entrepreneur has the idea and needs a bit of everything to really let his idea grow. So I'd say that it's a mix. It's almost a bit strange to divide it into those three elements, although it's perfectly logical. But I invest in businesses where I feel that I would love to actually be the guy that is running that business, but I don't have the time for it. So I can be a very active shareholder that kind of shares his knowledge as a consultant, that gives them money, and be a fellow entrepreneur knowing what the pitfalls and the difficulties are in the enterprise world.
Okay, great. Bas, I think that you know that sometimes we experience such moment that is called aha moment, when we have some sort of insight, and if it's not secret, so can you share with us your aha moment? Have you experienced it?
I was at some point reading a book by a nice Russian writer, Mr. Gogol, or he's Ukrainian Russian, right? Мертвые души, or the Dead Souls. And the aha moment was when I thought, wait a second, this was in 2009, I think. Mr. Chichikov, he's selling these dead souls. And then I thought, but the internet.
But they were alive according to the paper.
Yes. So then I thought, well, in the internet world, and I've had to kind of really learn the hard way to find the right ways of doing digital marketing. But you also have the dead souls, the мертвые души, because the banners that are not being targeted well, that are just being spread across the internet without any segmentation, any retargeting technology, etc., those are empty banners. It's money out of the window. Same thing, you might sit on a beautiful database with email addresses or a loyalty card program that doesn't work with 1 million members. Here you have golden opportunities, so you should actually buy and sell or improve those dead souls, make them either alive or resell them, etc. So I thought that that was a very nice moment in which I thought, wow, that's what digital marketing and entrepreneurship is also about, to really give a soul to a seemingly dead matter, or at least something where you think this is not working. Why am I investing so much cash in display advertising, but it's not giving me back my good ROI? Well, put some life in it, do some retargeting with the banners, make sure you get your frequency caps right, make sure you have your geo-targeting right, all kinds of things like that.
But have you understood right that we should avoid Chichikovs in the internet?
This is I wouldn't say that you should go to the Saviolovsky market and buy a CD-ROM with another person's database or something. No, I just mean that you should utilize the right databases. I have to agree that with a good cup of tea or a glass of wine we could discuss the actual elements, but I thought it was just funny to see that something that happened 100 or 150 years ago, with finding a shortcut to a certain topic. In a way, Chichikov was an innovator, maybe a naughty innovator, but still, I'd say that here, the one that has the best business concept wins, and it's up to you to decide if the morality is good or not.
Okay, great, very nice story. Thank you very much. And to summarize, can you give just some advices to starters, beginners, meaning digital marketing, what to start?
Okay, what we could do very quickly is go use this cash cow bomber formula,
Okay.
I'd say the C is for context advertising, which is Yandex Direct, Google AdWords. This is an expensive channel, but it is also a very reliable channel. This is the diesel engine of your business. If you track well and measure well, then your ROI, you could work towards a proper ROI there, and then you're actually printing money, because that one is very much scalable.
So search engine optimization.
No, this is context advertising, so it's kind of search engine advertising. This is where you pay for the click. The second one of Cash Cow is the A for affiliate marketing, which is Partnerskaya Programa, I think in Russian. And that one is really nice because you can actually ask webmasters to be your business partners and on a no cure, no pay basis bring you results. So this is a good one, although you have to be very careful with the fraud element. There's some chichikovs among the webmasters. Then there's the S of what you indeed mentioned, the search engine optimization. So this is, when you do it well, practically free traffic. So I'd say as a bootstrapped starting entrepreneur with little funding, try those three at least to be making sure that your business works well. You can use the first one, the C, as context advertising, as a useful tool to also on a small level, like send 100 people to your site and really well see if the desired result of a conversion is actually happening. The H in Cash Cow is the human interaction, which could be anything from making sure that your call center is a profit center, not a cost center. That your site is not just a boring database of products, but that you actually show the passion you have for the products, make sure that there's enough information on the site, that there's maybe even a video of your colleague who has been purchasing the products that explains why this particular product is so great. Then the C is commercial creativity. That's one that I really leave to the entrepreneurs, but this is those moments when you're running in the park or standing under the shower and you have a brilliant idea about how to make sure that your business is partnering with a different business that no other of your competitors thought of partnering with. The O is for optimized site usability, which is absolutely very important. Although when you are starting your business and you don't have much traffic, you might not see so much impact of it, but when you really are already spending a lot on your traffic and you want your customers to be happy, make sure that your site works really well with usability. There's a lot of tools for that. But the W is basically analytics, web analytics and normal analytics. Make sure that you benefit from the transparency of the internet, that you can track everything. So that's where you actually can always find the soft or weak spots in your business and make sure that with that you measure it. You see where you are losing money in marketing, you see where customers are canceling a lot of orders, things like that. And so then the bomber goes on, but I'll be a bit quicker, I guess. The B is brand. We can talk a long time about it or short. O is online communities, which is basically social media. Make sure you have that one covered, but don't always expect that that will be your main business driver. I've seen only a few cases in which social media really lifts off as a guaranteed source of sales.
People usually overestimate the role of social media.
It's a very good branding and engagement tool. It's even an operational supporting tool when somebody's writing you on Facebook or Contact or Twitter. But saying, okay, I now want to have 10,000 clients coming from Vkontakte, it's too hard. But there are a few exceptions, but we don't have time for that now. And then the M is for mobile, of which I already said that this is definitely something to watch at, but you can also look at it as meta search, which is the price comparison sites like Yandex Market or torque.mail.ru. And then when you move on, you go to the B of banners, which is a wide range of, watch out with banners. If you are a startup, you're just spending money on those banners, the dead souls, and they are not coming to life and not bringing your business anything, make sure you really get good advice on this, because the payment model for a lot of the large publishers in this market makes it a risky one. But if you get it right, you have an amazing reach and an amazing potential of growing. It's all about optimization. Then we get to the end of the Cash Cow bomber, which is basically the E of email marketing. I'd put it in my favorite top 5 because this is the one where you will make your free money pretty much after you have let somebody registered. Of course, you need to make sure your newsletters are well done, etc. But I've seen a lot of businesses that have 1/3 to 2/3 of all their sales coming from emails. I worked in a few companies that send 1 billion emails a year, and the costs for it was negligible, but they generated hundreds of millions of dollars of sales. But make sure that on your website it will be very easy and attractive to attract those email addresses, to let people leave it. You could give an incentive, like win something, and 1 out of 1,000 people that subscribe get a great free trip or whatever. And then the R at the end is retargeting. Make sure that all those channels where you basically invested, in e-commerce in Russia, like 1 or 2% only of all the people that come to your site, they actually do what you want them to do. The rest is leaving, or maybe they were bots, or they were dead souls, or they were not finding what they need, maybe the usability was bad. But at the end of the day, that 1 or 2%, sometimes 3 or 4, whereas in the West it's 17 or 20%, those people that leave this, all those other people that leave the site, the 98, you can show them your banner again. Maybe they left and didn't pay or buy a product because you basically made it happening hardly. And of course here you can track a lot. So, so that's roughly the cash cow bomber.
Okay, great. Max, could I ask you about the role of video? Let's see the online shop. We have the product page, and there is a video on the product page.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion about such
this is something that is hot at the moment as well with content marketing, etc. It drives conversions well. I've seen relatively doubling conversions when there was a lot of good descriptions and content. It works well for your search engine optimization. There is a certain brand impact. You can also think about pre-roll advertising, where you have your own small product or small video or whatever being shown before a YouTube movie. And I've even seen a nice London company that makes video retargeting automated, that if you clicked on a certain notebook on a site, it actually creates a digital video of that product that's then being shown to that particular person on YouTube before the YouTube video. That's a really nice concept, but I've not yet launched it in Russia. So.
Okay, great. And we have a tradition at the end of the program. We ask people just to dream a little bit and tell us about what is in store for us in the e-commerce. So what do you think? What will eShop be like in the nearest future?
It's nice to have traditions in e-commerce. It's such a young sector. I'd say that what e-commerce is facing, that every year we take a few obstacles away. So when we would dream a bit about where you remove those obstacles further and further, then at the end of the day, you would just want that if you now need a product, that the next moment you actually have it in your hand. So it would be almost something like a floating 3D printer that materializes a product the moment you need it. Your instant payment, of course, is also done with a wave of a hand or pressing a button in the sky. And at that moment you get the product you need. And I also could imagine that for the fact that we are in a resource scarce world, it would be nice that the moment you don't need it, it's extremely easy to dematerialize it. So why would you have 98% of the time that your car is standing somewhere on a very cold Moscow street when you only needed that 2% during the day, or maybe when there's a lot of traffic jams as in Moscow, you needed 5% of your time. So let it dematerialize, or even make it some sort of peer-to-peer way of exchanging the goods, so that 10 people can use a car at the moment where it's necessary. But this is probably 50 years from now that we'll get very close to it, or maybe already in 20, I don't know, things go so fast.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for coming to our program. I really appreciate your time. And it's a pleasure me to remind that we have in studio today founder and CEO of digital marketing and e-commerce consultancy firm Acrobatic.com, Bas Goska. Have a nice day. See you later.